It's time for HawgSports Live from HawgSports.com, a division of 24/7 Sports, presented by Crain Automotive. The Crain Team's got 'em. Visit them online at crainteam.com. And now with the latest breaking updates on HawgSports, here's Trey Biddy.
Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what's going on, but lately, since I've been reworking some stuff with the show, my audio just cuts out right to start. So I have to go back out and re-add it. But we'll just get the show started now. What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com. An important resolution was passed by the Board of Trustees to basically infuse $15 million into the Razorback athletic program. I'm going to break down what all that means, the different segments of all that, how some of it maybe helps Arkansas, how maybe some of it really doesn't set Arkansas apart. And I just want to talk a little bit about the importance of athletics as it pertains to academics and give you some examples of that. We're going to have Danny West hop on the show also to talk a little bit about Arkansas's first junior day under Ryan Silverfield, which was rescheduled from last week. And, of course, a big basketball game coming up against Kentucky. All that and more on today's episode of HawgSports Live. The Crain Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crain commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crain Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle and get you back on the road. Check them out at crainteam.com. HawgSports Live is driven by the Crain Automotive Team.
You've done it. Now you're the Crain Cash Champ. You just won big with the Crain Team. Go ahead, soak it up. How could you not feel like a winner? You dominated with our low price guarantee, and you got way more for your trade. Plus, with statewide delivery on thousands of vehicles from 16 locations, and the fact that we'll beat any other dealer's price, we make our Kansans feel like champions every day. That's winning. That's the Crain Team. Visit crainteam.com.
Feel like a champion every day. All right, first let's hop into basketball. Let me get this set up right. There we go. All right, first let's hop into basketball. Arkansas with a big game against Kentucky on Saturday. That's 5:30, I believe, right? ESPN. Yeah, the big show. Arkansas is currently tied for second place with Florida in the SEC basketball standings. Kentucky is tied for fourth at 5-3. Arkansas is 6-2. Kentucky's had a little bit of a surge, although they got their doors blown off against Vanderbilt by 25 points last time out. Maybe that's looking a little bit ahead for them. I don't know. Maybe Arkansas was looking a little bit ahead until the end of the Oklahoma game. But looking at their schedule, obviously they started off 0-2 in conference play. You know, there's a lot of bickering amongst Kentucky fans about Mark Pope and all that stuff. And then they hit a streak. They beat Mississippi State, pounded Mississippi State in Rupp Arena, went to LSU and won by 1. That was a very exciting game. I watched that game, but I can't remember how it ended. But Kentucky, I felt like just kind of came back there at the end. Tennessee beat them 80-78 at Knoxville, beat Texas 85-80, beat Ole Miss 72-63, and then last time out on Tuesday got hammered by Vanderbilt, a team that Arkansas smashed just recently as well. So 5:30 p.m., Bud Walton Arena, going to be a great environment. Kentucky coming to Fayetteville for the first time with John Calipari as head coach. Otega Owa is their guy, 16.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 2 steals. And Denzel Aberdeen also averaging double figures. Only 2 players in double figures for Kentucky, 12.4 points per game. So Arkansas, as we know, is riding a 3-game winning streak. hammered Vanderbilt in Fayetteville. It just looked like Arkansas did whatever they wanted to do, 93-68 in that one. Edged LSU 85-81. Kind of, I guess, a couple of kind of battle back games. And then at Oklahoma, obviously, last time out, 83-79. Of course, we saw Darius Acuff just take over that LSU game. And then really down the stretch, Malik Thomas, Trevin Brazile had a really big block in that one. But really Acuff, Thomas, Malik Ewan had a big game against Oklahoma as well. So need everybody against Kentucky. It's going to be a wild one. Obviously, Arkansas won at Kentucky last time, which was a big game for John Calipari. So just looking at the betting line real quick, it's Arkansas 5.5 on Bet Saracen. Where's my page here? Yeah, Arkansas is -5.5. How come I keep losing that? There it is. Okay. Arkansas is -5.5 on Bet Saracen right now. You can take Arkansas at -300, or you can take Kentucky at +240 on the money line, and the over-under is 164.5. I like the over in this one, and I think I like Kentucky. I like Arkansas to win, but I think it'll be a battle down to the end. So I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to take Kentucky in this one for our Bet Saracen wager wagon, which I keep losing. Yeah.
Arkansas's favorite sports stars explain what they like most about Bet Saracen.
Bet Saracen is not only Arkansas's top sports betting app, it's also the 13th largest in the nation.
Darren McFadden, and there's a serious plow horse. No wonder Jerry liked him.
Check out this Bet Saracen promo.
Place $5 or more parlays, and if yours rank among the top winning odds, score your share of $50,000.
The reason all of you are here is to talk about this $15 million resolution that happened Wednesday afternoon. The Board of Trustees voted to approve this. This was a 7-3 vote. I would have liked to have seen all 10 on board with this. I don't like seeing not everybody on board with helping the athletic department. And some of them said that they didn't see it until 8 o'clock that morning, and other kinds of things, other excuses like that. Other Board of Trustee members said this has been discussed. This is a good thing for the University of Arkansas for a couple of reasons. It's good for athletics, and it's good for the university, okay, and probably the whole system. So Arkansas has always prided itself on being a self-sustaining athletic department, right? I've got to get rid of this. I've got this tone coming up. I used to have this set to off. Annoying, but it's every time I get an email, ding. So we're going to close this, close. Okay. So Arkansas has always prided itself on having a self-sustaining athletic department. Well, that's great if you're, winning 13 games in a season, but Arkansas has won 13 games on the football field the last 3 years combined. They're 13 and 20, something like that. That's not something to be boastful about. So how it breaks down is the university will quit giving $4.4 million an average over the last 3 years, according to the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, $4.4 million to the University of Arkansas, basically as a means of paying for scholarships. That's how that worked. They're going to quit doing that. They should have quit doing that a long time ago. The athletic department, I don't know who said this originally, but it's been stated many times that the athletic department is the front porch to the university. It's not the most important room in the house, but it's the most visible. And that's something that's on the University of Arkansas website when it was referencing the North End Zone expansion project. It's very true. And I can go into some details as to why it's true. So let me just first break down how the $15 million gets divvied up. So you stop giving $4.5 million to the University of Arkansas. Okay. The University of Arkansas comes up with a plan to give $6 million to the athletic department. So you flip that essentially, a $10 million flip basically. Stop giving them 4.4, they give you 6, okay? Which is what most everybody else does. Hunter Yurachek said at a recent deal, according to, again, Democrat Gazette, said that Arkansas is one of only 20 schools that do this, that are self-sustaining like that. So everybody else is getting money from the university, and they should, because, again, I'm going to break this down, why athletics is important to having a strong academic institution as well. So they're going to figure out a way to give $6 million. The word is that they're against doing a student activities fee. You got 34,000 students. If you do a student activity fee at $176 per, that's $6 million right there. So they'll figure something out along those lines, maybe not call it a student activity fee, but something's coming off the top to give to athletics. Okay, so they've got to figure that part out. That's a good thing for the university to be invested, again, in the athletic department and not the other way around, because it's mutually beneficial that way. The last part of it is for the football program to figure out a way to generate $5 million more. Okay, so this is all going to go towards, again, their plan to inject $30 million over the next few years, basically $10 million a year on top of the football budget. All right, so how are they going to get $5 million? Well, they could do it through budgetary cuts. I don't want to see them do that. The easy answer is patches, advertisements, 4x4. Last week, the NCAA approved that teams can wear a 4x4 patch, an advertisement, basically, on their jersey. I was looking at the business, what is it, U.S. Business Journal, American Business Journal. I can't remember what it's called, but I was looking at that, and that basically says, let me bring this up. Okay. So that basically says, the 5 million section, Sports Business Journal, okay, a top 50 football program, on average, it could be worth $4.6 million to put that patch on. For basketball, a top 50, on average, $1.2 million. And then you're looking like for a top tier, you're upwards of $6 million or so, maybe more than that. But that's a pretty easy one. If you need $5 million, the patch is on the jerseys. That's going to be approved for this football season, starting August 1st, basically. So this football season, you're going to see a patch. Well, it may say Tyson. It may say Walmart. It may say, who knows, J.B. Hunt, Stevens. Who knows what it says. But that's going to be a new thing. So that's an easy one to me. Okay, so why does this make sense? Why does it make sense? We're going to look at Alabama. Alabama, as I've mentioned on this show before, has more national merit scholars enrolled at their school than any other place in the country. Alabama. They are the number 169 ranked academic institution according to U.S. News and World Report. Okay, Arkansas is not far behind that. I think it's 160 something, and Arkansas is like 182. So Arkansas is not far behind that. Okay, Arkansas has 17% of the number of national merit scholars enrolled as Alabama does. Number 2 is Florida. Number 3 is USC. Okay, now you can look at those and say, okay, well, those are top 25 universities. There's a reason they have that many national merit scholars. Okay, explain Oklahoma. Arkansas gets like 60 national merit scholars enrolled per year, most. Oklahoma will have 300. And Alabama has 362 in 2025. Alabama had 362 freshman enrollees. 1,200 total. Okay, Oklahoma is, 110 or so academic institution, and Oklahoma will get like 300. It's because of football. It's because not only do these kids want an education, they also want a college experience that involves following a great football team, going to a college football playoff. They want to experience that. Again, the front porch of your university largely is football out of all the athletics, but basketball and everything too. But football is 74% of your revenue generated. At least at Arkansas it is. Okay. I don't know if you've noticed this either. This is another knock against Alabama. So I don't mean to knock Tuscaloosa, but I don't know if you've been there. Outside the university, you know, it's cool how, you know, they've got the football stadium, and then they've got Fraternity Row, and then it's, you know, that just basically leads on to their version of Dixon Street, the strip right there. Pretty cool and everything. Outside of that, Tuscaloosa doesn't have a whole lot going on. The whole area doesn't really. In fact, U.S. News and World Report ranks Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the number 620 best place to live in the country. Fayetteville, which has been in the top 10, you know, kind of combining all of Northwest Arkansas, has been in the top 10, is currently 75 nationally. It's gotten more expensive to live in Fayetteville. That's part of the reason. Rogers, nearby, ranks 26 nationally. Springdale is up there, too. Springdale's somewhere between those two. So this area, I'm not sure what Bentonville is, or if they're including Bentonville and Rogers or something, but Bentonville's got to be up there, too. But this area is a very coveted place to live. Housing costs the last 20 years have gone up 262% in Northwest Arkansas. In the same time, Tuscaloosa has gone up 115%, which is good for Tuscaloosa. That's right around the national average. It's good for Tuscaloosa, considering where it ranks nationally. Again, part of that football program. People want to live there. People want to go to school there. So it's important. Athletics is important too. And I hope that people at the University of Arkansas see the importance of having a good quality healthy athletic department. And it would be one thing if the football team was just rolling, but it's not. Okay, football has been bad at Arkansas. And one of the main things that we've been talking about is it's not funded properly. The $5 million that the football department has to raise is not anything, in my opinion, that's going to separate it from the other teams, because everybody's going to be putting these patches on their jersey. And if you're against the patches, I mean, look everywhere else. You watch a soccer team, they don't even have their team name. It's just, you know, whatever company is sponsoring them. The NBA's been doing it, obviously. So this is not anything new to college athletics. But that part of it's easy, but that's across the board. Having the university flip that 4.4 to them and stop doing that and have them send you $6 million, that's where it's going to add some benefit to Arkansas. We've talked about adding that $30 million, basically like around $10 million a year over the next few years to the athletic budget, to the football budget, to get Arkansas in the top half of the SEC. Also, this is going to increase as inflation increases. It's not just going to stay that way, and we're going to look 10 years and say Arkansas, you know, it's behind now. It hadn't caught up with inflation. It'll go with inflation also. So I wish everybody was on board with this. I hope Chancellor Robinson is in support of this. I hope he sees the vision for this, how it's not only good for football, it's good for the area. It's good for people's well-being. I mean, people care passionately about Arkansas. It's not okay to have a suck-ass football team, okay? It's not okay to have that when that's all we have inside the state, okay? Everybody's got their pro team outside the state, whether it's the Chiefs or the Cowboys or the Cardinals or the Braves, you know, whatever you have. Everybody's got their team, right? But as far as something that unites all of us, or most of us in this state, it's the Arkansas Razorbacks. And it's important that they have a quality athletic program. It just is. And I don't know how to explain it other than the trickle-down effect with everything else. If you even want to call it trickle down, trickle out. It goes everywhere. All right, so that's my thoughts on it. Okay, next stage. I had two tabs up, so I was a little confused on like, what am I doing here? Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? All right. Let's go to Danny. Danny's with us. So Danny's going to join us here on the Ozarks Go hotline. Guys, if you live in Northwest Arkansas or Oklahoma or this region of the country and you don't have Ozarks Go, you should really look into it. Fast, reliable, consistent internet service. You can reach out to them and talk to someone local because it's a local company at 479-684-4900 or go to ozarksgo.net/hawg, HAWG, and find out if they're available in your area. Consistent, steady, reliable internet service. Still have not unplugged my router. 4 years. Danny, how's your service?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's your internet service?
So far, so good. It's not Ozarks Go good, but it's hanging in there.
So, Danny, I was just talking a little bit about the $15 million resolution to inject money into the athletic department. And, we were just talking about the importance of having a quality athletic program, not only for the well-being of people in the state, for the quality of this area. I mean, imagine if Arkansas had a great football program. We talk about housing prices increasing. Some people may say that's a bad thing. I say it's a good thing for people living in the area already. But, all of those things and, just the overall boost to how people view enrolling at the University of Arkansas.
Yeah, no, I get that. And it is important, but I don't know, man. I just kind of go back to why are we having to get creative, and I think it's because people haven't believed in the AD, and they haven't raised enough money. They haven't done their job well enough. So now you have to get creative and move money around. And, I understand the point. Sorry, my cat came in, but I understand the point behind the Tuscaloosa thing, but it almost feels like, and kind of a timely thing with Coach Lou Holtz, shout out prayers with everything that's going on there. But he always had this great quote that tearing down your neighbor's house doesn't make yours look any better, and
yeah,
I really think that. And I just think the problem is this is the result of having an AD that hasn't and has admitted to not putting the program in a position to succeed. And this is just the result we're left with now.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an interesting point on that. On one side, I wouldn't say that this is that creative. I think it's just what other teams are doing already and have been doing and should have been done already. But, there are things that we can point to with, first of all, Hunter Yurchek, when he got up in front of the Little Rock Touchdown Club last year, his biggest mistake was not saying what he said. It was just not following up with what he took months basically to follow up with this is how we're going to fix it. Like that's what he should have said. We're not here. This is how we're going to fix it. But, there's also questions about, the stadium naming rights. We've still got Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium up there. And I guess we're acting like they're still under contract. And that contract is long since gone now.
It's going to be Walk and Talk Stadium before you know it.
I wish I could afford it.
Whip out the checkbook, man.
Yeah, that's right. But that's something that's got to be done. It's got to be named. But just the paying the university for the scholarships when it's no skin off the university's teeth, and in fact, they benefit from having a good athletic department is archaic, and it should have been canceled out a long time ago. And I'm glad that certain members of the Board of Trustees saw that and made a resolution to change that. But also the university should be paying the athletic department. I mean, it's like free advertising for them.
Yeah. And that's a change we've seen compared to the last 10, 20 years, obviously. But I don't know, man. It just speaks to the alignment conversation, that we worry so much about. And I think that's true. I think you have to be aligned nowadays. And when you hear about, we just rolled over to 2026. This has been 5 years now, and we're still getting creative and trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it's that creative, Danny. I think it's just common sense.
Maybe it's a bad word, but we're just now catching up, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, you got to be forward-thinking and innovative as an athletic department if you're at Arkansas. It cannot be how it's felt for a while that Arkansas is just kind of chasing and, say, oh, they're doing that, we'll do that too. You got to be the innovators. And that's what Arkansas gets with Calipari. I mean, that's one reason Calipari is so valuable is, all the things that they have done since he's gotten here with basketball wise, has improved. I mean, a lot of people aren't happy about, having to pay, $20,000-$40,000 for seats, and it's coming for football too. Like they're going to, there'll be no more grandfathered in tickets for football, but it would be nice to, know that, like, okay, this is happening, but also, the stadium rights, naming rights have been done also. It's not just we're going to jack ticket prices up. But that's my opinion on it. Danny, you want to talk about Junior Day?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Arkansas's first Junior Day is coming up this weekend. It was supposed to be last weekend, but
Right.
They had to reschedule it, obviously, for weather. But this is a important deal. Ryan Silverfield's first, in fact.
It is, man. First and only for this month because of that storm last week, which, that sucks, but I wouldn't freak out about it, Trey. I know currently, I think they're tied with 5 other SEC schools for, they've only got one commitment for this 2027 class. A little bit of a slow start. Last weekend does put you behind a week. I mean, you can live with it, but it's shaping up, buddy. I think they're, it's going to be very in-state heavy. And it would have been last week as well. So it's good that a lot of the guys who were scheduled to come in last week are still going to make it in this week. It's shaping up. I think it wouldn't surprise me if they come away this weekend with a few commitments. Certainly, when you look at the kind of, just the offer list for some of these guys, not a ton of competition yet. Arkansas has gotten in there pretty early for a lot of them. The in-state trend, trying to keep that momentum going within the state. And then, just the obvious, where we're at in the recruiting calendar. Again, you've only got one kind of it is the bottom of the SEC so far in terms of quantity commitments so far. So, yeah, it's stacking up. We can run through some of these names that I'll be watching for sure, and added another official name to the list yesterday with Marion running back Jeremiah Dent, a kid we've talked about for a while. He's got Auburn, Ole Miss is offered. I want to say Purdue is up there for him, but Arkansas officially joined that list yesterday. And that running back spot, if we want to call him a running back, there's 3 or 4 here that, Trey Stewart out of Little Rock Central will be up this weekend. Mentioned Jeremiah coming up from Marion, another running back. And then Fordyce Redbug, Micah Gamble, a little bit smaller, might remind you of more of a Sutton Smith type. That came over from Memphis, but there's a lot you can do with him as well. So those 3 in particular, I think all 3 are takes, in my opinion. I think they're really trying to hammer this in-state deal with this class and would like to be super efficient with this group in particular. Mario Brownlee recently offered about a month ago, just after Christmas. He picked up that offer. He's a linebacker from Arkadelphia. You've got the hometown kid, kind of an interesting topic here with Fayetteville High here lately. Of course, we don't have to get into all that, Biddy, and dig up bones here. But a couple weeks ago, obviously, some headlines there. But here they've got 2027 Fayetteville linebacker Will Caston, and obviously some ties with his father playing for the Razorbacks there. Wouldn't shock me if they're able to make a strong push at Will this weekend. And then Warren, I mean, it's not an in-state crop without Warren High School being mentioned. And Josiah Steen, the latest wide receiver down in Warren, will be on campus again this weekend. So what'd we name there? 5 or 6 guys, Biddy? That wouldn't shock me, man. I'm not putting any pressure on anybody. Don't freak out if they don't come away with 4 or 5 commitments this weekend. But I do. I think there's potential, and the timing feels right that I could have a busy Saturday. Hope so anyway.
Walker Brothers brings you the finest men's clothing from around the world. Carefully selected lasts, fit right, and help you look your best. From game day essentials to distinguished luxury wear. From a meticulously fitted suit to the perfectly faded pair of jeans. Every piece in their collection is hand-selected for enduring quality and iconic style. Experience that undeniable confidence that comes with perfecting your personal style. Visit them at 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6 in Fayetteville, or their brand new location, 3503 South 55th Street in Rogers. Suite 101, by the way. Danny,
Yep.
So I was just looking through the database, and it looks as how many guys from inside the state have an offer from Arkansas right now?
Oh, man, I should probably
class?
know that.
I don't know if we've got them all updated or not, but it didn't seem like a lot.
I want to say 7, maybe.
From the 27 class?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So some of these need to be updated, but that's late January work that you get out of portal season, and been spending a lot of time in profiles lately. So apologize, but that'll be updated by, today. Well, we'll call it today.
We'll call it today.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, why not?
So as far as recruiting goes, though, Danny, they, like you said, they just have this weekend now because you run into a dead period. Well, it's a quiet period February 1st, so they can still be on campus, but they have to be out of here by Sunday because you hit the dead period, and it's a month. It's 4 weeks, 4 weeks of a dead period before you can, have prospects back on campus starting March 2nd, and then March 2nd through April 14th, and then you have the contact period after that. Another contact period.
You think about Silverfield and when he got hired and when that was announced. I forget the exact date, but I want to say we had his presser on like December 6th. Does that sound right? And so, you just do the math on that, and we're talking about his first and only upcoming junior day coming up on what will be the 31st Saturday. So one opportunity in his first, really, what's that going to be, Biddy? About the first 2 months on the job or longer? Yeah. One opportunity to bring in high school football recruits and see them in person. Now, we've been in the contact period, and coaches have been on the road, so they've been able to go out and see some of these guys and their coaches and whatnot. So it's not just, all in on this one particular day this weekend, but it is interesting to see how the calendar kind of, I'm not going to say punishes or puts high school recruiting in a bad spot, but man, especially if you do get a week delay like that because of weather or whatever reason, and you're already running low on these, junior day opportunities.
There's a couple of things. Having that dead period in the middle of the transfer portal is ludicrous. Like, how do they, I can understand, having something happen and be like, oh, well, this might need to be changed. But how do you not see that coming? That you don't need to have a 3-day dead period and a coaches convention in the middle of your one and only transfer portal window. I felt like that probably hurt Arkansas. After they missed on some of those safeties, they needed to get some more guys in, and I think that ended up hurting them. But it hurt everybody, I'm sure, in some kind of way. But that, and then having this dead period pop up right now. But at the same time, we opened the show talking about fundraising and trying to inject $30 million total into football, and the $15 million resolution that was passed inject into the overall athletic department. But Silverfield hasn't really even had a chance to do fundraising on his own yet.
Yeah.
Because it's and that's just part of it, but he hasn't had a chance to go out and, I don't know if touring Razorback Club meetings is the same as it used to be, but, getting out there and, shaking hands and kissing babies and stuff. He hasn't done any of that yet, really.
Well, somebody needs to do it.
Somebody needs to. So, Danny, what do we have to look forward to after Junior Day? It's a dead period, so
the dead period, buddy. That's the answer for me. No, honestly, I think it's just the full turning of the page into 2027 because of what we talked about there, how the calendar works now. Man, if you don't go all in on the portal, you're screwed. You have to. And with that, you do need a bigger staff, and all that's great. I commend them for the staff improvements and raising the money that it takes to get there, because you have to have that too now. But I think more than anything, I'm just ready to get past the portal and, get into some film work. I want to see who these guys are and see where they end up going in March. Because now, because of the calendar and the last week being postponed to this week, rescheduled, now, you got to stack up visits in March, and spring football is going to be really important for unofficial visits to try to set yourself up for June official visits. So running a little bit behind on that, it feels like anyway. They could be in a much better spot than I know, but just kind of the feel from this time of year. Typically, you're by now you're running on your third or fourth junior day in a row. So now you're doing your first and only to close out the month before you get into a dead period. Don't love that, but again, it's not going to kill them. High school recruiting is what it is now. They'll have plenty of time to play catch up throughout the year, but it's just where it's at. But it's been a weird one, man. You asked me what I'm kind of looking forward to. I would say it's next year at this time, because it's going to look so much different for them, and it should be easier for them to navigate, which makes it easier for us too, right? So this time next year, I'm hoping it'll just be more structured, and maybe you get a better hand with the weather, and everything's just going to feel established. Whereas right now you're still kind of figuring it out on the go, and they haven't had much time to stop. I think about my schedule, and man, I felt dead over the last week. Coming out of that portal, just no energy. I can't imagine what those dudes feel like.
Yeah.
They haven't stopped since whenever they arrived. So
well, that's a good point too. And as you're laying this out, Danny, I was thinking about that also. It's a good time to take a beat if you're the football program, because, first of all, we're going to be fine. We've got 10 more basketball games in conference play, coming up. We got March Madness on the horizon, but this February is going to be really big for the basketball team, obviously, heading into March. But we got that. Baseball kicks off. It's not a good term, kicks off, but starts the 13th, I think, February 13th. I believe so, in Arlington. I think they've got 4 games in Arlington, so we're just a couple of weeks away from baseball starting off. So it gives, I think, football time to take a beat, because from the day that Ryan Silverfield was hired, it's meet with all the players, get all that kind of stuff figured out as far as contracts, you staying or you going, all that kind of stuff. Hire a complete staff, all new coaches, all of that stuff, and plus they started off right away, having to make sure that they had everybody on board from a recruiting standpoint, because signing day was right then. And then it's like, get prepared for the transfer portal, that whole, that whole month getting prepared for the transfer portal. And then it's 2 weeks of utter chaos. And then you come out the other side of that, you get a little bit of a break because of the weather, but you come out the other side of that and it's, scheduling junior days, getting recruits up here, contact period. It wasn't a beat. It wasn't a beat for the weather. They still had to get out on the road. And do all the contact period stuff. So now we're looking at what is really the first moment to where you maybe can take a breath, and Silverfield can maybe figure out exactly where he lives and what his neighborhood looks like, aside from dark in the morning and dark at night. Pulling in and out. So
he's doing a smart thing though, with the basketball program being they've got it going pretty good, but he's tweeting after every win. That's a smart move.
It's a good time to have recruits in too, Kentucky.
Yep. Oh yeah. We hadn't even talked about that aspect of it, but what time is that game?
5:30.
5:30. That helps out. You can get people to stick around. You mentioned the Sunday being a quiet period. If you have, and especially that works for your in-state guys, they can stay overnight or head back late after the game. That's going to work out well. It should be.
It'll be different than the transfer portal thing where you have grown men going out and hitting Dixon Street. The recruits generally go to somebody's room and play video games and stuff. Maybe have maybe hit a fraternity party or something like that.
The adults can have a good time, buddy. Sometimes more than the kids.
Yeah. All right, Danny. Anything else you want to add before we cut you loose?
No, man. That's just kind of where it's at. Junior day heavy. Again, I'll get those profiles updated today. That's important. Got to get those squared away before Saturday. But yeah, I think it could be a busy Saturday, and you know what? I'm excited to cover one if it works out the way I think it will. And then we'll get into the dead period.
All right, everybody. Danny West. Follow him at Danny West 24/7 on X. He is the HawgSports recruiting analyst and transfer portal and does a little bit of everything for us. Appreciate you, bud.
All right, brother.
All right, everybody. Go check out Danny West content at HawgSports. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our friends over at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. Proud to be the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and why I always say I would encourage you to check out the brand new location over there. Rogers is getting all the good stuff, but it's 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers, 72758. But you can also shop them online. Did you know that? Not only set up an appointment with them online, but also shop. And they also offer delivery, so you don't even have to be in Northwest Arkansas to check them out. Built on tradition since 1987, Blakeman's has been Northwest Arkansas's trusted destination for exceptional jewelry and personalized service. Again, visit them at their brand new location, 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers, Arkansas. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, where Arkansas gets engaged. A lot of people planning weddings. It's never too late to get engaged. Okay, where do we want to venture off to next? Should we go to questions? Should we go to comments? A little bit of both. Let's check out our comments, see if we've got anything wild on here. A lot of negative comment. Muscle Hog says we aren't even competing. I don't blame people. Like, I get tired of the negativity and stuff, but I also don't blame people for being negative, because in a lot of ways there's nowhere to be, nowhere else to be. But I don't blame people with battered hog syndrome. I just, when I see somebody say something awful, or just negative, or like I'll put out some news that I think is positive and somebody has a negative angle to it. What's the opposite of a silver lining? I'm just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for feeling that way. So we got a lot of people complaining at Muscle Hog. Basically, that's the comment sections. Yeah, it's just one big bickering session on the comments. Keep leaving comments though. Let's see if I can find anything else. Landmark in 2009 says, Trey, when we hear from Coach Silverfield again. I think that'll be fairly soon. Now, they've got to, at some point, they're going to put out a spring football schedule. With spring break being not until March 23rd to the 27th. So really, like, you back it up to that Friday, you're going to cut them loose then. That's a super late spring break compared to recent years. Very, very late. So they're going to have to break up spring football. Silverfield at Memphis did not do that. He held it consecutively. They were done in probably 33 days or so. Arkansas under Pittman always broke it up. Most coaches break it up. So they'll have to do that. But I think that I'm hoping we'll hear from Silverfield and or the assistant coaches in some capacity before that. I think it's important to build on all the transfer portal stuff and get him back out in front of the fans. Trey, who is the better Arkansas coach, John L. Smith or Chad Morris? John L. did more as a coach in his career. John L. took over a very difficult situation also with, how things went. But I would have to go. Morris assembled a really good recruiting staff. John L. took over maybe arguably a better overall team. I mean, that's a tough one, I guess. That's not one I ever want to have to talk about. Landon Martin also said, do you think Arkansas will win another national championship in your lifetime? In what sport? I mean, you're going to ask me that question after a 2-10 football season. I think they'll win a national championship in my lifetime in one of the three major sports, yes. Basketball, baseball. Who knows what happens in football? I mean, there is examples of teams, it's not like just Indiana is the only example out there of a team that came from nowhere to have success. I mean, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, BYU, Virginia. There's a lot of teams that haven't had success in the past that had success this year. So it can happen. I want to build on this too. Like, I'd talked about a few things last show that kind of bugged me. Like, I don't like the never yield all alone, because it's just like never yield. I'm not a big fan of one Razorback hashtag. That came around when Chad Morris was here. I'm not a big fan of that. I'll tell you what I like better, and that people in Arkansas would get, ain't but one. Houston Nutt. You know, when he's talking about, you know, there ain't but one Razorback, that was the quote. Ain't but one. Like, hashtag ain't but one. I think people would. I also had, you know, the Diamond Dallas page. I actually did it wrong. I had it like this, but the Diamond Dallas page, I think that would be cool. Instead of throwing the A or Tuscum, which I'm not a big fan of, but the Diamond State DDP. I don't know. I just had a few thoughts after the show on some of those things. But why isn't that one? That's not bad. DDP, Diamond Dallas page. What do you make of DJ Williams rating us a C+ in our transfer portal edition? I'm scared to be hurt again this year. Well, you're probably going to be hurt, Landon. I mean, like, I'm not sitting here like, I'm encouraged with some of the direction of things that have happened, like a bigger commitment towards raising money. You know, I mentioned that they're about halfway to their goal of 30 million, and Silverfield hasn't even really gotten out and started doing any at least that I know of, any fundraising work. And you know, so there seems to be people on board with that, and they got about a year and a half to get there. And maybe this also adds, you know, at least 5 million more for football, and who knows of the rest of it, the 6 million and the you know, and also being able to keep 4.4 million. Who knows what percentage of that goes to football. But, you know, those are positive steps, and maybe steps that should have been done a long time ago, but those are positive steps. And it does feel like they have more NIL money. I don't know that they have championship level NIL money, but I'm not like sitting here going, Arkansas is going to, you know, win 10 games next year. I think it's probably 5, you know, it's year 1 of a new coach. So there's so many questions to be answered. You know, does the culture get set in? Does it take hold? Is there buy-in? How is the coaching? How is the in-game management? How is the quarterback play? We don't know anything about quarterback, really. Like, there's not a returning starter at quarterback. So all of those are question marks with this team. So my hopes aren't like high. I'm just like, you know, thinking, okay, they might make to a bowl game. They might not. That's kind of where I am. Even though I do feel a little increased level of excitement. You know, part of that comes with just a new coach. But I just see some things that they've done that to me are positive. I want to see more. C+ on transfer portal additions. Is a C average? Grading scales are always so difficult. Is it in relation to what Arkansas has been in the past? And I didn't see DJ's show. He does a good job. I'm on there every Monday, by the way, on the Zone with DJ and Justin. But is it a C+ compared to Arkansas's past? Is it a C+ overall in football? Because I would think a C+ would be a 78, where a 75 would be considered average, so slightly above average. Or is it like I say, an Uber rating, where anything other than 5 stars is basically an F? You give somebody a 4 on Uber, that's an F, right? So, you know, I don't know what the scale is exactly. What's the curve? What's the most angry I've seen Bobby Petrino? Probably there was a time where a police officer brought a dog into the football stadium when they were practicing, and Petrino lost his mind on the police officer. Get that dog out of here, with some choice words. I've seen him, I mean, early on, like back in 2008, 2008 spring football, like right when they were getting going, him and Paul Petrino were on everybody's ass constantly. The time that he got on Alex Tejada after a missed field goal or extra point or something, and I mean, he was livid. And I don't know that Tejada recovered the rest of the season from that. Or probably hadn't been yelled at. Most kickers aren't yelled at like that. What was the game where he told the players to look him in the eye? I've seen a lot of Petrino. That's just who he was. But, the players had a respect, fear, I guess, relationship with him in a lot of ways. It's funny, like, everybody's like, remember when everybody was like, Petrino, he's really calmed down, he's not the same, all this kind of stuff. And then he gets named interim head coach, and you see him losing his mind against Mississippi State, like, sure. I remember when people were saying that, I was like, have you been to practice? I don't know about that. Calmer, gentler Bobby Petrino? Don't know about that one. Landon Martin. Landon's active today. What do you make of the Dabo and Ole Miss? I mean, I applaud Dabo for actually saying it. We talked about Eli Drinkwitz getting up on his soapbox talking about tampering and all this stuff, and I was just like, say a name. Say somebody's name then. Like, I hear a lot of this school and school A and school B and all this kind of examples and hypotheticals and stuff. I never heard him say a name, and it's probably because he didn't want somebody to say his name. Everybody's tampering, including probably Clemson. Because if you're not tampering, like, you're going to get caught with your pants down looking like a fool because you didn't cheat. You didn't tamper, and everybody else did. So portal comes around, and it's just like, well, we weren't contacting players. We weren't offering deals out there. We were waiting for the portal to open, like the rules say. Meanwhile, everybody's taking your players and getting a jump on you with everybody else. So, like, you have to tamper. So I would imagine that Clemson is also tampering, but to the level of tampering where, you've got players who have entered the portal from another school, you've signed them to your school, they're in class, and they're getting offered deals to enter the portal again, and to where he calls them and says, hey, if you do this again, I'm going to report you for tampering. And not only do they do it again, they double their offer. Just brazen about it. So I like that Dabo said something about it. Did what he said he was going to do. That's something that Dabo does. You love him or hate him, but he usually does what he says he's going to do. So, yeah. Good. Will anything be done about it? I'd be surprised. The only evidence we've seen for that more money is being spent on football is the extra assistant coaches. They certainly didn't load up from the portal, Elmer Fuddpucker says. I don't agree with that, Elmer. I think when you compare, like, I don't just look at like transfer portal rankings, because portal rankings generally are based only on college production. And there's a lot of guys that, while Arkansas added some guys that have production, Arkansas added a lot of guys who are younger, who were 4-star prospects that, it'd be one thing if you're like, we're going to get this 4-star prospect, he's a senior. He hadn't done anything yet, but he was a 4-star. No, it's like 4 stars who are going into their second, third year in a lot of cases, right? So they added a lot of guys like that, and you don't get highly ranked for that. So I don't think you go out and get Carlin Jones, Zadavian Sims, guys like that, Jaheim Johnson, Bryant Williams. I mean, there's some guys that were really heavily coveted by other schools. So I would disagree. I think what they did is evidence of having $25 million in revenue sharing and NIL, $14.5 million for revenue sharing, I know, and I assume $10.5 million raised in NIL. So I would disagree, Elmer, respectfully. I'm not saying that they are elite level financially, but I do think that they have a significant amount more money than they've had in the past. And also, the coaching staff salary rose, $2 million, which is relatively significant. Michael Pesky, did I hear Trey say he's picking UK? No, I'm picking to cover. I think it's, what was it, 5.5 or 6.5? I just think it'll be a closer game, but I think Arkansas will win. I'm not picking Kentucky to win. If it's not good for NIL and getting better players, then it's BS. What? You won't see an equivalent of ACUF on the football team because they haven't shown that they're willing to spend money it would take to get someone like that for football. I mean, again, Bryant Williams is a pretty big get. Jaheim Johnson's a pretty big get. I mean, those are both top 10 players at their positions from the transfer portal. So I don't know. I've made the point about the defensive line before. I don't want to rehash, but the difference for Arkansas, the difference between having like a $25 million roster and maybe like a $40 million roster, which Texas may have, is Texas goes out and they just get guys that are proven production players, where Arkansas did some of that, but they also had to go out and get guys that were really highly regarded as recruits who are, second, third year players coming up, about to be second or third year players. So there's a little bit more projection involved in Arkansas, and you have to hope that they did a good job projecting. I don't know that Sam Leavitt was worth that, what they paid for him. Did the Hogs finish in the top 25 in the portal, says Michael? So they did, and it depends on where you looked at. And on 3, they do a deal where they rank you based on your talent, the portal guys that are leaving versus the portal guys that are coming in. And Arkansas was 9th in that in terms of most improved roster. On 24/7, I think we had them at 27. But for some reason last year, we had them at 16 in the transfer portal last year, which obviously that wasn't the 16th best portal class in the country. I mean, really good on offense, but really bad on defense. The UA needs a $10 million plan. They have to replace the $4 million they're being required to forego. What? You talking about the athletic? You talking about the University of Arkansas needs a $10 million plan. Yeah, they have to replace the $4 million they're being. Yes, that's true. Good. You're accurate there. Okay. What should we expect from a significant additional investment? I think it goes to everything, like it improves your recruiting budget. It improves your travel budget. I've mentioned before they use like Sun Air or something. I think they would like to use have a better deal going there. So a lot of things like that. My screen just went black. There it goes. Make sure my audio is still working. Camera's still working. Okay. All right. Let's get over to HawgSports, the Razor's Edge, see what kind of questions we got over here. Okay. So Hogs 456 sounds like the expectation was set for the athletic director and the chancellor, and they don't have any input on what the expectation clearly is. Get football fixed. Sounds like someone or some people are not effing around anymore. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, kind of does seem like that. I would guess that they probably had a little bit of an idea of what was going on in that department. I'm not buying that it was just found out about at 8 a.m. But yeah, get football fixed. If you're Hunter Yurachek, you got to be happy, right, with that. You got to be pleased, I would think. Although because it's really nothing to him. Like, they're like, raise $5 million. Well, okay. Patches. Boom. Hogtalica says, why was this resolution proposed and passed the same day? It should have been unanimous decision. I agree. I would have liked to have seen unanimous. I don't like that it was fractured decision. At least 9-1, I don't understand why this is bad. Why is this a bad thing? I mean, when you look at all the stuff that I just laid out, like having a healthy athletic department is not only good for people in the state of Arkansas, people who attend the University of Arkansas, but it's also good for the University of Arkansas from an academic standpoint. Willie B. hard again. T-Nips. I heard that Jimmy Dykes and Carl Ravitch are dating. Is this true? No, it's not. Why would you ask that? Hogs 456. I also predict this will be one of the most highly watched shows you've ever done. This is serious. Maybe. What are we at right now? We are at 929, so it's up there, but not. It's about normal. 929 people watching right now. Joshua 11 says, Trey, just to be clear, the new BOT resolution passed and we'll be getting an additional $15 million a year for athletics. Yes, $15 million technically. The athletic department no longer is going to give $4.4 million. The athletic department is going to raise internally $5 million. And the University of Arkansas is, instead of taking $4.4 million, they're also going to give $6 million to the athletic department. So 15.4-ish. Again, another question about what you can expect to receive from an additional investment. I mean, largely just improvement everywhere. Invest more money for the strength and conditioning program, more money for coaching salaries, which we've already seen that invested, but help some of that. Additional, everything from the daily quality of life for the athletes, your recruiting department, your travel budget, basically everything. I mean, everything should be elevated, boosted up. Kaminsky Pork says, have you asked the trustees why they voted no? You keep suggesting it's a referendum on the need of funding. No, I haven't asked them why. I mean, this just happened yesterday. But I don't understand why you wouldn't vote for this unless there's some kind of, I don't know why you wouldn't vote for it. Razorback 32 says, is this a shot in the arm boost for all sports? Does this benefit NIL? It does not boost NIL. It does help you in terms of, your revenue sharing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it helps go towards all that. I mean, university fired like 18 people, not long ago. We need Frank Boyles back, don't we? Frank Boyles would push the envelope for sure. Okay, everybody. Thanks for hopping on the show. Thanks to Danny West for joining us as well. Appreciate all your questions. Go to HawgSports.com, HAWGsports.com, to read more about this and interact on the message board, all that fun stuff. All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We'll catch you next time.